Welcome to English language class. You have learned that an inference is a guess that a reader makes by combining details from a text and personal knowledge. A reader makes an inference about what is happening based on facts and details presented in the text to be able to form a conclusion. In this test, you will be listening to different passages and making inferences to be able to draw a conclusion. There are 10 items in this test, and you will be given 10 seconds to answer each question. The answer will be revealed after the timer. Are you ready? Let's begin. When you make inferences and draw conclusions, you put details together to figure out the meaning of a passage. Listen to each item carefully and answer the questions that follow. Choices are provided for you. Text number 1. As soon as Virgil walked into the shop, he began to sneeze. The little shop was lined with cages full of furry little creatures or feathery ones, as well as colorful fish in their bubbling blue glass tanks. A woman wearing horn rimmed glasses and a worried look stepped from behind the counter. Virgil said hello, but then sneezed once more, and sneezed again and again. Each time he sneezed, the animals in their cages seemed to vibrate with agitation. Before Virgil could get out the word birdseed, the woman in the glasses asked him if he could please come back another time. Where does this story take place? A. A feed. B. A farmhouse. C. A pet store. D. An aquarium. The answer is letter C. It took place in a pet store. Why is Virgil sneezing? A. It is very cold in the shop. B. The woman behind the counter has on too much perfume. C. The animals in the shop need to get a bath. D. He is allergic to something in the shop. The answer is letter D. He is allergic to something in the shop. Why do you think the woman asks Virgil to leave? A. His sneezing is agitating the animals. B. She doesn't want his business. C. She knows he is a troublemaker. D. He does not take good care of his pets. The answer is letter A. His sneezing is agitating the animals. Text number 2. With an exasperated sigh, Ingrid searched one more time for her science report. She looked under the dinner plate with the petrified pieces of orange rind. She flipped through a stack of old magazines and a bundle of school newspapers. She even moved two piles of dirty sweat clothes and a shopping bag full of old DVDs. Why is it so hard to find things in her room? A. Ingrid's room is too small. B. Ingrid's room is messy. C. Ingrid's little sister hid her science report. D. Ingrid has a blurry vision. The answer is letter B. Ingrid's room is messy. Text number 3. Jordan grabbed his baseball glove and headed for the ballpark, excited that the championship game was finally here. Then Jordan remembered something that gave him a sinking feeling in his stomach. He had left the door to his uncle's tool shed unlocked, and his aunt and uncle were out of town. If he went to lock the shed now, he would miss the first inning of the game. On the other hand, his uncle had a lot of expensive tools in the shed. With a sigh, Jordan turned around and began to jog toward his uncle's house. Based on the given situation, we can conclude that Jordan is blank. A. A very responsible person. B. A very stubborn person. C. A lazy person. D. A very irresponsible person. The answer is letter A. He is a very responsible person. Text number 4. In literature class, Mr. Watanabe announced that he would read a famous poem by Emily Dickinson. He began, "Because I could not stop for death." Juanita Sanchez then mouthed the next words. "He kindly stopped for me." In fact, Juanita quietly whispered the words to the entire poem as Mr. Watanabe read them. Juanita's literature book lay closed in front of her. From this passage, we can infer that A. Juanita has a skill in reading people's minds. B. Juanita can see through Mr. Watanabe's book. C. Emily Dickinson is Juanita's favorite poet. D. Juanita has memorized the Emily Dickinson poem. The answer is letter D. Juanita has memorized the Emily Dickinson poem. Text number 5. Trudy enjoyed visiting her father at work, but she had to be careful not to get in the way. On the other table, Ronaldo was assembling a massive salad filled with colorful vegetables. In front of the stove, Eileen was tasting her incomparable mushroom soup with a slight frown on her face. In the corner, Vladimir was roaring something about more scallions for the gravy. Through it all, Trudy's father, in his puffy white hat, kept close watch so that each dish came out perfectly. What do you think is the work of Trudy's father? A. Trudy's father works as a baker. B. Trudy's father works as a food taster. C. Trudy's father owns a restaurant. D. Trudy's father works as the head chef of a restaurant. The answer is letter D. Trudy's father works as the head chef of a restaurant. Text number 6. When Mrs. Kosick saw Ralph walk into her clothing store, she greeted him by name. Mrs. Kosick took Ralph by the arm and led him to a table stacked with new sweaters. Soon, she was holding up a red sweater and nodding her head and smiling. Ralph, who had come in only for a pair of socks, started nodding his head along with her. "Not bad," he said, as he reached for his wallet. What inference can you make from the fact that Mrs. Kosick greets Ralph by name? A. Mrs. Kosick has guessed Ralph's name. B. Ralph is wearing a name tag. C. Mrs. Kosick already knows Ralph. D. Ralph is Mrs. Kosick's son. The answer is letter C. Mrs. Kozik already knows Ralph. From the same passage, what inference can you make about Mrs. Kozik? A. She does not like to talk to customers. B. She is an aggressive salesperson. C. She makes a lot of money in her store. D. She sells more socks than sweaters. The answer is letter C. She makes a lot of money in her store. For the last question, at the end of this passage, what conclusion can the reader draw? A. Ralph will never come back to Mrs. Kozik's store. B. Ralph will choose another sweater to buy. C. Ralph will buy a pair of socks as he intended. D. Ralph will buy the red sweater. The answer is letter D. Ralph will buy the red sweater. If you got most of the answers right, then you must have had great listening skills. Congratulations! Thank you for participating in this audiovisual test. Till next time!